Tribal decks have been struggling in the modern format in the recent years, but in today's video, we're going to be playing modern Merfolk, but with a twist. This is a recent 5-0 by Young Dingo, which is a regular tribal Merfolk deck, but with a combo finish. There are a lot of moving parts to this combo, so we're just going to show it off. As you can tell, the basic combo is having multiple copies of Merfolk in play and untapping the One Ring and keep playing Merfolk out, which allows you to untap a land and untap the One Ring, drawing your entire deck. And once you've drawn your entire deck, all you have to do is play out Thassa's Oracle, meaning that the instant this resolves, it is game over. And while this is somewhat of a combo deck, it's still a regular beatdown Merfolk deck that is focused around just tempoing out your opponent and having a great late game engine with the One Ring. And one of the most powerful parts about this deck is that you can have a turn 2 Svelun, which is just another great draw engine. So we're going to be taking this sweet modern brew and seeing how powerful combo Merfolk is in the modern format. Match 1, we're on the play, and hand is great. We'll go turn 1 Shock in a Breeding Pool and cast a Utopia Sprawl, naming blue. Opponent goes turn 1 Steam Vents into a Rag, and we top deck another Sprawl, and we'll play out a Cavernous Souls into a Tide Shaper. And on their upkeep, we will cast a Merfolk Trickster, trying to top down the Ragavan. And opponent goes Fetch into a Temple Garden and Wrenn 6. Interesting. We'll cast our Sprawl on the Breeding Pool, naming white, and then we'll cast out a Lord. And we'll just attack the opponent, ignoring Wrenn 6. And they evoke out a Solitude, killing our Lord. They attack in with their Ragavan, and they exile a Hexcatcher off our top. Take up with their Wrenn 6, getting back up Floodstrand, playing that out. And then they cast out a One Ring. Ooh, we find another Lord, so we'll slam both Lords here. And we might as well kill the Wrenn 6. On the instant, they draw a card with the Ring. They play out a Floodstrand, passing back. We top deck another land, we'll cast out our Svelun. And in response, they activate the One Ring. And they cast a Reprieve on our Svelun. So we'll play out our Misty, and we'll attack in with the team. And they evoke out a Solitude, killing one of our Lords. And they also have a Leyline Binding, taking out our other Lord. And they block our Trickster, falling down to 5. And in the upkeep, they go down to 3. They play out a Ragavan into a Misty. We top deck another Misty. We'll cast out our Svelun. And we'll play out our Misty. And then, we might as well as attack in. And they have a Leyline Binding, taking out our Svelun. And then they block with their Rag. And they only have 3 cards in hand. They activate the One Ring, drawing a few more. And they scoop it up. Let's get on to sideboarding. We're going to bring in 2 Mass Vandals, 4 Force Negations, and 3 Subtlety for Mirror Reacheries, Comina Speakers, and Phantasmal Images. Game 2, we have a turn 2 Svelun, so we'll keep. Opponent goes turn 1 Steam Vents into a Ragavan. We top deck another Svelun. We'll play Island and cast out a Tide Shaper. Opponent plays a Heath and does nothing. We top deck up a Seiju. We'll play Misty and hold up our Trickster. They play out a Misty and do nothing, so on the end step, we'll fetch Shock and cast out our Trickster. And it does resolve, tapping down their Rag. And we find a Misty, we'll play that out, and we'll fetch out a Forest here. Then we'll cast our Sprawl on the Forest, and name blue, and then cast out a Svelun. And on our instep, they fetch out some Triomes. They play out a Forest into a One Ring, and we top deck a Trickster. So we'll go straight to combat, attacking with Svelun. And that happens, we get to draw a card, finding a Tide Shaper, and we'll kick it out, turning their Endotha Triumph into an island. And we'll still hold up Merfolk Trickster and keep a Seiju in hand. They evoke out a Solitude, taking out our Svelun. Then they activate the One Ring, drawing 2. They play out a Plains into Evoked Out Fury, killing our 2 Tide Shapers. And then they cast out a Solitude, killing our Trickster. And before combat, we'll flash in our Merfolk Trickster, tapping down their Ragavan. We find an island, we'll play that, cast out our Master, and then play out a Svelun. And we'll attack in for 3. They draw 3, and they do have a Leyline Binding, taking out our Svelun, and they attack in with both, and we will not block. Then they cast out another One Ring and play out a Misty, passing. Another land for us. Well, we'll just hold up the Seiju here. And they draw a card on the end step with the Ring. They draw 2 more with the Ring. They play out an Omnath into a fetch land, gaining 4. Then they cast out a Wrenn 6. And no attacks from the opponent. So on the end step, we'll use Beseiju, getting back a Svelun. Oh my god, another land! Well, we'll go to combat, attacking with Svelun and our Trickster at the opponent, and we'll draw a card. Finding an Oracle. They're down to 6, we'll cast out our Oracle. I guess we'll take the Lord, though, and we'll hold Misty in hand. And on the end step, they fetch, gain another 4. Opponent draws 3, they're at a casual 9 cards in hand. They play out a Nissa into a fetch land, gaining 4 and making mana. Then they find Temple Garden off the fetch, getting 5 mana. They cast out Teferi, bouncing our Svelun. And they revealed a Fury off of the Nissa, so we're just going to scoop it up and get on to game 3. Game 3, our hand just a little too slow here, so it will. And our 6 is much stronger. And we'll put back a Misty. We'll go turn 1 Shock and then Breeding Pool and play out a Tide Shaper. When it goes turn 1 Misty, we top deck up a Seiju. So we'll play that out and attack with Tide Shaper. And we're going to hold up Hexcatcher. They Shock and a Breeding Pool, passing. And we'll try and flash in our Hexcatcher, which they have a Reprieve for. We find a Trickster, we'll cast out our Hexcatcher now, play our Center Growth Chamber, bouncing our Beseiju. I'm going to attack in for 3. They play out a Heath, doing nothing else. We draw a Lord, we'll go to combat. and we'll attack in with both. Oh no, do they have a endurance? And it looks like they do. So I guess we will flash out our Merfolk Trickster, tapping down their endurance. When they fall down to 6, then we'll play out our Besage, passing back. They flash in a Leyline Binding. They cast a Leyline Binding, taking out our Hexcatcher, and they miss a land drop. Ooh, we find another Lord. I think the right call is to actually do nothing and hold up Trickster. They cast out a Nissa, and it looks like they have nothing else again. So we'll flash in a Trickster, and we'll tap down the Endurance. Oh, Subtlety's so good. We'll play out our Master, and we'll go with attack with everything. And they're going to need 2 Solitudes not to die here, so we'll evoke out our Subtlety to counter their Solitude. And they scoop it up. Let's go. Let's get on to match number 2. Match 2, we're on the draw, and hand seems great. It goes turn 1 Force into an Amulet. We draw a Misty, we'll play out our Floodstrand, Fetch Shock, grabbing a Breeding Pool, and cast our Utopia Sprawl, naming blue. Opponent plays out a Growth Chamber, untapping it, making 2 mana, and they cast out a Dryad, playing out the Forest again. But we'll play our Island and cast out our Mirror Regery. They play out a Slayer Stronghold into the One Ring, drawing a card right away, into a Mycosun's Gardens. Another land. But we'll cast out our Phantasmal Image, copying our Mirror Regery, then we'll fetch out our Forest, casting out a Kamina Speaker, untapping our Breeding Pool and our Forest. Then we will kick out our Tide Shaper, untapping our Breeding Pool and tapping down their Dryad. And we'll make their Simic Growth Chamber into an island. And then we'll cast out our Svalin. And then we'll attack in for 3. They activate their One Ring, drawing 2. They cast out a Summoner's Pact, picking up a Prime Time. And they copy their Amulet, then play out a Bounce Land, and opponent's going to get us here, so we'll scoop it up. We're going to take out 4 Kamina Speakers for 3 Subtleties and a Force Negation. Game 2, starting hand has a turn 2 Svalin, so we got to keep. We're going to go turn 1 Breeding Pool into a Sprawl. And opponent goes turn 1 Grazer into a Bounce Land, bouncing their Forest. Subtlety is a good one. We'll play out Island into our Svalin. They play out another Grazer off the Forest, put it in a Growth Chamber. Ooh, Tide Shaper off the top, amazing. We'll attack into Svalin, drawing a card, finding an image. We'll kick out our Tide Shaper, and we'll get rid of their Growth Chamber, making it an island. They play out a Forest into a One Ring, and they draw a card right away. And we top deck an island, we'll attack in with our team, drawing into a Breeding Pool, and no blocks from them, so we'll flash in our Hexcatcher. And we'll play out an island, and play out our Master of the Pearl Trident. They draw 3 cards off the One Ring. They cast out an Amulet into Nazuta. And I think I'll Subtlety this. Not sure if this is the right play though. And they put that on the bottom. And they play out a Simic Growth Chamber, bouncing the other Simic Growth Chamber, which was an island. And then they cast out an Expedition map. Ooh, we find a Marrow Regery. So we'll cast that out. Then shock in our Breeding Pool and cast a Phantasmal Image. And then I'll copy a Marrow Regery. Then we'll attack in with the team, drawing a card, finding a Forest, and they go down to 7. They draw 3 with the One Ring. They cast out an Amulet, and I feel like I'm supposed to make them pay for some amount of this, so let's try and counter it, sacking a Tide Shaper. And they pay for 1, so I'll sack again, getting rid of our Master. And they pay for that one, so we'll sack it, getting rid of our Regery. And they paid for that as well, so we'll try and counter it again with our Marrow Regery. And they pay for that, and now finally we'll sack our Hexcatcher to counter it. I'm not sure if that was the right play, but I kind of think it is. And they scoop it up, so I guess that was the right play. So let's get on to game 3. Game 3, we're going to bring in our Force Negations for a Regery, Trickster, and a Phantasmal Image. Game 3, our hand's a little slow, but definitely worth keeping. An opponent goes turn 1 Amulet, and I think I actually am going to counter this, pitching our Master. Oh my god, we top deck a Sprawl. So we'll play that turn 1, and they have another Amulet. Then play out of Castle Garenberg into a Grazer, putting in a Cavernous Souls. Ooh, Tide Shaper. I think it's risky, but I'm going to go with Svalin. Uh-oh. Please no One Ring. Oh, I think even play a Titan here. Oh, that was such a good draw. Oh my god, we top deck a Subtlety too. Let's go. We'll attack in with Svalin, drawing a land. Then we'll kick out our Tide Shaper, making their Sludgy Sanctuary into an island. And we'll hold up our Hexcatcher. They float a blue, then play out a Rot Farm, and nothing from them. So on the end step, we'll fetch out an island and then cast out our Hexcatcher. And we draw a Svalin, so we're going to cast out a Regery. Then we'll attack in with the team, and they block our Hexcatcher. They play out a Sludgy Sanctuary, floating a green off of the cavern. And they play out a Primeval Titan, which we will Subtlety, pitching our Svalin. And we even find a Besage, so we'll cast our Image, copying our Regery, and then attacking with the team for lethal. And they scoop it up. Let's get on to match 3. Match 3, we're on the draw, and we only have a Bounce Land, so we got them all. Yes. Okay, down to 5. And our 5's fine. We'll put back a One Ring and a Master of the Pearl Trident. Opponent goes turn 1 Misty. We top took another Regery. We'll fetch Shock and play out our Speaker. And on the end step, they cycle a Striped Witherwinder. They shock into Steam Vents, and then discard their Waker of Waves. Another land for us. We'll play out the island and attack in for 2. They play out a Besage passing, and we find a Tide Shaper. Well, we're not winning this game anyways if they have a living end, so we'll just play out a Regery here. Then we'll attack in for 3. And on the end step, they cycle a Curator. Then they cycle another Curator. Yep, and on our upkeep, they cast a Violent Outburst, so we're going to scoop it up and get on to sideboarding. We're going to take out 4 Speakers, 4 Tricksters, 1 Ring of Marrow Rejury for 3 Veil of Summers, Endurance for Force Negations, and 2 Chalice. We literally can't cast anything except for Veil of Summer and a Force Negation, so I think we actually have the Mole. And our 6 is also a little weak, but I'll keep it. And we'll put back a Hex Catcher. We'll go turn 1 Misty and turn 1 Chalice. They go turn 1 Spire Bluff, and we do find an island. They cycle a Riverwinder on our end step. They play a Botanical Sanctum, we'll fetch Shock, and cast our Hex Catcher. And in response, they cycle 2 creatures, and cycle a third. Ooh, Svalin's a good one. We'll cast our Hex Catcher now, and then attack in for 2. They untap using their Waker, then play out a Scalding Tarn. Oh, another Hex Catcher. We'll cast that out now, and we'll attack in for 6. And they actually fetch here, which means we have lethal next turn. They play a Forest doing nothing else. We top deck up a Sage, we'll play that out and cast out our Marrow Rejury. And they Petty Theft our Chalice? Sure. I guess we'll recast the Chalice. And they concede. What a weird game. All right, let's get on to game 3. Game 3, our starter looks great. They go turn 1 Tarn. We'll fetch Shock and go turn 1 Sprawl. And our end step, they cycle Curator. They go Misty Pass. Oh, this is so awkward. I guess we will play out our Manamu, and we will also play out our Sprawl, and then cast out our Thassa's Oracle. And we'll actually put a land on top of our deck. They play a Misty out, and we'll Shock in our Breeding Pool and go for the One Ring. And they cycle Curator, and the One Ring resolves. Pretty sweet for us. And we'll poke in for 1. And when they go to fetch, we will activate our One Ring, playing around Brazen Borrower. And no land or no spells. We draw a Phantasmal Image, we'll activate our One Ring. And in response, they cast a Violent Outburst. Not sure if I'm supposed to care about this. I guess we'll Force Negation this. I don't know if this is right though. And they go to Force back, so we'll Veil. And that resolves. And we find a Svailun and some more lands, so we'll play out an island. And then we'll untap our One Ring with the Manamu and then draw 3. But no Chalice. So we'll attack in for 1. And we'll discard a Svailun. And they scoop it up. So let's get on to match number 4. Match 4, we're on the play, and we got a real risky hand. I don't think we can keep it. I really want to, but we'll mull. And this 6 is really not much better, but I guess we will keep this. So we'll keep putting back Svailun. We'll lead on turn 1 tap Breeding Pool. Opponent goes turn 1 Bloodstained Mire into a Sacred Foundry, casting a Ragavan. Ugh. And we find another Tide Shaper, so we'll play out Beseiju and kick this one out. And they go straight to combat, which we will trade with the Rag. And they fetch Shock, casting a Feign Death, saving the Rag. Come on, land. All right, we'll kick this out, and we will turn the Sacred Foundry into a island again, I think. All right, I guess we'll make the same block here. No, please, no. All right, whatever. This is okay. Come on, land. Casting out a Bowmasters. Wow. Well, that's a good one to Phantasmal Image. Come in a Speaker. So let's just play out a Phantasmal Image, copying Bowmasters. And we will kill their Bowmaster with our Bowmaster. All right, 3rd time's the charm. Hey, yo, let's go. Finally got the Ragavan off the battlefield. Oh my god, they play Vindicate. Oh my goodness. All right, we're good at this game. We find a land, so we'll cast our Speaker. Oh, it terminates our Speaker and pokes us for 1. Come on. And they poke us for 1 again, doing nothing. Oh my goodness, deck. Please. Guess we're just having a staring contest. Oh, come on. And on the end step, they cast another Bowmasters, and they attack in for 3. Oh, come on, deck. I guess at least we're both not doing anything. We're down to 8. Oh my goodness. Okay, at least this is castable, so we'll play it. Oh my god, they have Reprieve? No. We're down to 5. Oh my god, a land. Let's freaking go. Let's cast out our image. No, stop. Another Reprieve. And I'm not sure how we win this game. I guess we'll fetch out a Forest and cast our Sprawl. Our use. And we're down to 1. Yes. All right. Phantasmal Image number 3. Copy Bowmasters. Kill Bowmasters. And I guess we'll play our Misty. And they have a Solitude on the end step. Wait, they had... All right. Well, we are dead here. We're going to take out 4 Speakers and 3 Phantasmal Images for 3 Veils, Endurance, and 3 Subtlety. Game 2, we got a Mull R7. I guess we'll keep this one, putting back a Subtlety. Key note here, our opponent is on a Mull to 5 here. They play out a Blood Crypt into a Grief. And we are going to Subtlety this, pitching our Merfolk Trickster. And they did pitch a Vindicate, which is nice to know about. And they did put Grief on top. We draw a Master, we'll play out our Forest, and they cast a Grief out again, so in response we will cast out our Hex Catcher. And of note, they didn't play another land, so we can sack this to counter the Undying effect on the Grief. And they do take our Svailun, casting an Undying Malice, which we will counter. Now we are in a top deck war. Island, let's go. And another bear. Tack in for 3. Nothing from them. And another bear. Let's go. Tack in for 8. And they scoop it up. Let's get on to game 3. We have to mulligan again, down to 6. At least they mold as well. And our mana base. What is this? Yeah, we will keep this and we'll put back a Hex Catcher. And they reveal a Chancellor of the Annex. Oh my goodness. What is this deck? I love it, but I hate it. Then they do cast an Undying effect, getting it back. And they do take our One Ring. Seems interesting, but possibly right. We top deck an Endurance, but we'll play our Strand. They play a Marsh Flats and attack in for 4. We top deck another Misty, we'll play that. They play tap Sacred Foundry and attack in for 3. And on the instep, I think we actually do have to cast the Veil here just to break the Chancellor trigger. Hex Catcher's a good draw. We'll play out our Beseiju and we'll hold up an Endurance. They poke us for another 4 and then play out a Bloodstained Mire, so we'll cast our Endurance. And they have a Bowmasters in our upkeep. Guess that's fine. Oh, that's so good, but so awkward. Guess we'll play that out tapped and hold up our Hex Catcher. They attack in with the team and we will cast out our Hex Catcher and go for a double block on the Grief. And they kill off our Endurance, taking us down to 3 and play out a tapped Courtyard. Come on, good cards. Another land, play that out tapped and we'll hold up our Subtlety. Wow, and they do attack. I mean, we will go for the block here with the Subtlety. And they have an Undying effect. Makes some sense. And they ping us for 1. Svaeloon, that's such a good draw. And we will not attack here. Too risky in my opinion. And they play out a Ragavan and no attacks. Oh, we find a Master. So we'll attack in with our Svaeloon. Oh, wait, this triggers Bowmaster. I completely forgot. All right, I guess we'll play out another Svaeloon and then even cast out our Master. They find a land. We top deck another Svaeloon. God, we literally just can't do anything here, so we pass. They do nothing. We top deck a Sprawl. Don't think there's a real reason to even cast it. Nothing again from them. Uh-oh. They have a Bolt. GG's to the opponent. What a crazy game. This was actually a really fun one. Match number 5, we are on the draw, and our hand looks quite strong, though. They go turn 1 Din. We find another One Ring, and this is Obosh, so I am going to play around Blood Moon a little bit here. We'll go Forest and cast a Utopia Sprawl, naming blue. They play out a Field Ruin, we'll fetch out an Island, and we'll play out our Svaeloon. They play another Field into a Fable. We top deck a Cavern, we'll attack in with our Svaeloon, drawing another Misty. I guess we'll fetch out another Island, really playing around Blood Moon, and then cast out a One Ring. They discard double Blood Moon, and they do have a Flame Slash. Interesting. Oh, I forgot to activate my One Ring. That's okay. We'll activate it now, drawing a card. So we'll cast out another Utopia Sprawl in our Forest. And we'll actually name green this time. Then we'll play out our Cavern and play out a Kamina. And we'll hold up Hex Catcher. They flip the Reflection, then play out a Blast Zone. Wow, and they pop the Blast Zone, which I guess is good against our Utopia Sprawl and Speakers. And they poke us for 2, then play out a Ragavan. So on the step, we'll flash in our Hex Catcher. And they have a Stomp for that, so we will sacrifice it, essentially killing the Stomp. Ooh, Marrow Reejerey. We'll activate our One Ring. Not sure what the right line here is. I think that we're supposed to play out our Marrow Reejerey and then flash in our Hex Catcher. Oh, it plays out a Seasoned Pyromancer, discarding a Phoenix of Ash and another Spyro. Then they play out a Mountain, and they attack him with Ragavan and their Goblin Shaman. So we'll cast out a Valerian Hex Catcher, and we'll untap our One Ring. And we will go for the block on Ragavan with our Marrow Reejerey. It's risky, but I think it's worth. And they do have a Spikefield Hazard, which means that our Marrow Reejerey will go down. And on their end step, we will draw 3 with the One Ring. Not finding a Reejerey, unfortunate. We'll draw 4 with our One Ring. And there's a Reejerey. So I think we might be able to win this one here. So we will cast out a Reejerey. Then we'll cast out a Phantasmal Image, copying our Reejerey. Then we can shock in a Breeding Pool and cast out a Kumina Speaker, which untaps our One Ring, and it can untap a land. Then we draw 5 with our One Ring. Guess we'll play out another Tide Shaper, untapping our One Ring and a land. Then we'll draw 6. And in response, they do copy their Spyro. So we're going to draw 7. Please don't have a removal spell. All right, I do think we have the win now. So we'll cast out our Tide Shaper, untapping 2 lands here. Then we'll cast a Utopia Sprawl on our Breeding Pool, which we will name green. Then we will float a blue, which means we have another green. And then we'll play another Sprawl on the Breeding Pool, naming blue this time. Then we can cast out our Tide Shaper, untapping Breeding Pool and our One Ring. Then we'll draw 8. Then all we have to do is cast out our Thassa's Oracle. And I think this is enough. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, 9 Devotion. We'll do it. And that should be game. Getting the combo win. So let's get on to sideboarding. We're going to take our Kumina Speakers and Phantasmal Image for Mass Vandals, Subtleties, and Endurance. Game 2, our 7 looks quite powerful, so we'll keep. Opponent goes turn 1 Shinka into a Rag. Ooh, Hexcatcher off the top. We'll play an island and cast out our Tide Shaper. And they bolt down our Tide Shaper and connect with Ragavan, exiling a Mass Vandal. And we find Flood Channel at the top, so we'll fetch out an island and hold up our Trickster. Opponent plays out a Ramen Up Ruins and then goes to combat with their Ragavan. Oh, I forgot to Merfolk Trickster it. That's okay. Well, we'll Trickster it now. And in response, they do bolt our Merfolk Trickster, but they don't even get a Ragavan trigger, so it's not that big of a deal. We find a Misty for turn, we'll play out our Forest, and we will cast a Sprawl on it, naming Blue, and we'll hold up our Hexcatcher. Opponent plays a Field Rune, then attacks in, and we'll cast our Hexcatcher. And I actually don't want to block here because they can't just activate Shinka. And they get a Tide Shaper off of us, which if they're smart, they can kick that out and take out our Forest. Yeah, and it looks like they see the line here. Pretty sweet line for them. Another land off the top. Well, we'll play one of them out and fetch an island now. And we'll hold up our Subtlety. They attack with the team, so we will flash in our Subtlety. And we will block the Ragavan. It's really risky, but I think we don't really have any other good blocks here. Yeah, and they have a Stomp, and if they can see the line of activating Shinka, this is just so bad for us. And this is exactly why it was risky. We still have some good draws here. The One Ring is the best one. Hexcatcher is not it. So I'm just going to scoop it up and let's get on to game 3. Game 3, our hand is pretty decent, but if they have a Blood Moon, we are pretty much dead. But I'd imagine they would have taken some of them out with the way we've been playing. We'll lead on turn 1 Strand. They go Mountain into a Pyrite Spellbomb. Spheloon, good draw. We'll play out our Growth Chamber, bouncing our Strand. When it goes Blast Zone into a Stone Brain? Huh? I guess they really can't beat the One Ring, so maybe that's fine. Seems a little weird though. Ooh, Tide Shaper, good draw. We'll fetch out an island and cast a Spheloon. They lose Obosh because of this. I just completely disagree with this line, but they must be naming the One Ring or else this doesn't make sense to me. Yeah, and they do name the One Ring, which makes some sense. And we draw an island off of our One Ring getting exiled off of the Stone Brain. Then they play out a Den. And they do evoke out a Fury, killing our Spheloon. But oh man, do we have a sweet turn lined up. We'll go Marrow Regery, island, play out our Tide Shaper, untap our Ascendant Growth Chamber, and then cast out a Voltarian Hexcatcher, untapping our Growth Chamber again. Opponent plays out another Spell Bomb. They activate one of them, killing our Hexcatcher. Then they activate the other, killing our Regery, and nothing else. We find a Misty, we'll cast out our Spheloon, play out a Misty, and attack in. They play a Ramen Up Ruins into a Fable. We'll attack in with Spheloon. Not too excited about that. So we'll just play out a tapped land, holding up our Trickster. And in their upkeep, we will flash in Trickster, tapping down their Shaman. They don't discard anything off Fable, which is terrifying. We top deck a Phantasmal Image, we'll attack in with Spheloon and a Trickster. Ooh, Tide Shaper is great. And during combat, they do bolt our Trickster, paying for the ward. Then we'll fetch out a basic Forest, cast our Sprawl onto it, naming Blue, and then kick out our Tide Shaper. And that will target their Blast Zone. Then we'll run out our Breeding Pool. They flip their Fable and play out another Blast Zone. They pop the Blast Zone they played, killing 3 of our things and attacking with a Shaman. I actually wouldn't be mad if they played a Spyro, because then we can Phantasmal Image it. Well, we'll attack into their Spheloon, getting a Regery, and we will for sure play that out. I guess I'm actually going to Phantasmal Image it as well. No, maybe that's wrong. I'm going to Phantasmal Image their Reflection, and we'll hold up Trickster. Oh, and they have a Fury, and they target our Regery and our Fable, and they do pay for the Reflection. Oh, wait, there's no good way of doing this, is there? Yeah, I think we're just going to be losing our board here. Fury was just such a good draw, so we'll cast out our Trickster, and we will tap down their Reflection. Yep, and they copy their Fury. I was supposed to do this in response. Oh, I'm so bad. I'm sorry, folks. I punted. Yep, and now they're going to kill our Spheloon because the Fury will kill our Marrow Regery, and this should just be game for them. Yep, and even though this is indestructible, we're going to be losing both of them. Yeah, this was just poorly played by me, and I don't think we have any outs here. And I guess we'll trade. And if we had the One Rings, maybe we could win this game, but I just played so bad. So we end 3-2 after that really bad punt. I'm sorry, folks. 3-2 is definitely impressive. I'm very happy that this deck is like a combo deck that can also just be a creature tribal deck. I'm not sure how I felt about the mana base. It does make sense why they need these cards, but it just felt like we had Utopias for all in hand with not a forest too many times, and it just really just didn't work with us at all. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please consider leaving a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one.